Hi guys, this is R.A. Sweeney here to talk to you a little bit more about the Hadvarim or the Ten Commandments plaque. Today we're going to talk about commandment number 9, which is the commandment about bearing false witness. And so I've heard a lot of different ways people have talked about this and really decided where the boundaries of bearing false witness are. I actually was just doing some research on church history and found out apparently the early Puritans felt like even like acting, if I was going to act in a play or something like that, was wicked because I was, inherent to my putting on a character and acting as somebody else. I am not being true about who I am and those things, and so I'm bearing false witness, and they wouldn't even allow that. Um, and so everything from that to like, well, witness is a courtroom scene, so you can't lie in a court or something like that, and everything in between. There's a lot of different perspectives on this. um, Really, the way I've come to understand this idea is all about deception. um, and so it came down to a few passages about deception, and really, in my mind, one passage about the opposite of deception. And so we see in the garden, the serpent deceives the woman into eating from the fruit. He's a deceiver. And every time that he comes up throughout the story, you've got this idea of deceiving people. And in the New Testament, we've got passages where the enemy is a liar. His whole goal is to lie to people, to try to trick them and deceive them into doing what he wants to do. So really, just inherent in who the serpent is this idea of deception and not being honest about who he is. And then the opposite of that, when God appears to Moses, originally when he's in the burning tree on Mount Sinai, he says, my name's Yahweh. Your ancestors have only known me as El Shaddai, but you tell them that Yahweh sent you. But then later on, when Moses is like, show me your glory, God's like, no, that you died. That's not good for you. But tell you what, I'll let you hear my true name. And he says, he lists 5 character traits there, and the last one is that he's like overflowing or abounding in trustworthiness. And so it's like this idea of like, you get what you see. Like, there's no like trickery, there's no deception. It's trustworthy. It can be like an architectural term too. Like, can I trust this to hold up to the test that I needed to do? If I step on a rock, can I trust it to hold me, or is it going to like roll my ankle? Those sorts of things. It's the idea of dependability and trustworthiness. And so that kind of dichotomy of like all these ideas of deception go along with the enemy, and all these ideas of being faithful and trustworthy and dependable go along with God's character. And so I think that's what's going on here with this passage of not bearing false witness. It's not, can I, you know, act? Can I, make a joke that requires a little bit of deception? The idea is like, am I trying to trick someone to their detriment, or am I trying to be someone that's trustworthy and dependable that you can count on? Even thinking about Jesus teaching on vows in the Sermon on the Mount, the idea of making a vow is, I'm trying to, like, I'm not trustworthy, you don't trust me, so what if I bring in something else's trustworthiness to lean on and say, like, well, I vow by this, so then maybe you'll trust me because I'm not a real honest person. And he's like, no, just be trustworthy. And so I think that's what's going on here, is this idea of like, don't be a deceiver, be trustworthy, because God's trustworthy and the enemy's the deceiver. So that's really what's going on with this, at least my translation on this one. And I hope it was a blessing. Thanks.